Recently, you saw us down the State House, us being cable access centers,
Yep.
and going back to the spring, and we were really starting to coalesce on the fact that all the communities that have cable, which is, I think almost everyone, is really upset with their local cable providers not allowing HD high definition into the cable PEG channels. And also electronic programming guide, because you don't know, it just says local programming and nothing else, and you're not in the calendar of events. And we got a lot of support, and I want to thank you. I know that your office was very supportive, but I was really impressed by the various, I went down one day and testified, and the amount of support, because so many of the senators and representatives use the stations to get the message out. And I also heard that they'd like to turn on the TV and see Portuguese football in the HD as opposed in standard definition.
I know who you're talking to now.
You do. And but I wanted to just let you know that just last night, you're aware that we had our little 10-year renewal with Comcast here in Amherst, and it was a bit of a fight. And they signed last night, and it's more than we had before. But again, HD is off the table, electronic programming guide. So I was just going to say, please continue the support. I think it may take a state initiative of some sort to really make this happen, because they're just refusing, even though they give it in other states. It's Massachusetts. It's such a dense community for access centers in the states, one of the densest in the country. They don't want to give it up. So
Yeah, well, so much of the cable industry is regulated. So much of the regulation is at the federal level, but as you point out, there is some capacity at the state level. But I think I would say, I'm not an expert in the subject area, you certainly are because you live it every day, but I'm going to guess that this is a compliment to you guys, because you must be doing such a good job that they feel that they're in competition with you in your programming. So they're trying to keep you in a smaller box so that you are
that's a nice way of looking at it.
Less competition for their programming and their stations where they're doing professionally paid for.
Oh, they paid for it, all right.
You know.
But one of the pitches that I made during our ascertainment hearings was that I said, we're a content producer for you. People who are watching channel 12, 15, and 17 or Amherst are watching it for a reason. So why do you, if they own HD, right, if they're paying for HD, they have an HD channel, but they have to watch this in bad quality SD, you are cheating them out of what they've paid for. And they look, and I said, we are content, you're getting brand loyalty from what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're not cutting the cord, and they said that has nothing to do with this discussion.
Well, what it has to do with is there's no paid advertising
Right.
on your station. Right. And so their advertising is driven by the numbers of viewers, and so they need to have the eyes on the stations on their cable network that are driven by commercial advertising. So it's not Comcast itself, but it's all of those other stations and the pressure. This is my guess. As I say, I don't know that much about it, but it's an educated guess. My intuition is that, and my educated guess is that the revenue that drives the programming on the other stations and those other stations and networks are pressuring Comcast to have fewer eyes on community access so that more eyes will be on
Well, it's interesting that
stations.
We're Comcast. There's other providers in the state, RCN, Charter, and others. Time Warner.
Fewer than they used to be.
Yeah, Time Warner just bowed out. But the point being, we've seen the demise of media in general, of papers, you know, the Gazette's all the way down to about 7,000 subscribers in distribution. I mean, the numbers are just constantly falling under traditional. Our local affiliates are all one now, right? ABC, NBC, and CBS and Fox are all the same owner in this market, which is like in the old days that
and
never
in a lot
happened.
of other places, yes.
So what my pitch here is that, as you know, the local, hyper-local news and this kind of ability to talk to citizens, right, that on issues that confront them, is getting harder and harder to find those venues. So there's that push of consolidation of a place like Comcast buying Universal, buying Hulu, buying, everything under the sun and consolidating it from distribution to production, right? And so our little push, what you said, it's not just that we don't get ads, it's also that we represent something that is not necessarily in their culture.
Yeah. Well, my perspective on this, because everything you said is, we see it, and I see it as a member of the legislature for almost 30 years, and I have seen the change in communications and media as relates to reporting on what legislators do. So it's very dramatic. And so I've often said, and I don't remember which of our early ancestors in this country said it, but one of the folks in the 1700s said, if I have to choose between a free press and a legislature, I would choose the free press. And that wasn't a diss on the legislature. It was a commentary that if you are going to have a self-governing society, however you form that government, if you don't have a free and accurate, informing, analytical press, you cannot be a self-governing society because you don't have the information with which to make decisions.
Exactly.
And so watching the diminution of the number of outlets and the size, the subscription rates, et cetera, it's scary from the point of view of our system of government.
I totally agree. And we have journalism students here that come in to work with us. We have, communication students here, and we try to talk about that as and quite a few of our interns have gone on to work at other access centers because they realize that they're doing local, this is real serious stuff that you can get involved with.